June 2nd, 1970. Goodwood Circuit, West Sussex. Bruce McLaren, 32 years old, two-time Can-Am champion, is driving his M8D down the Levant Straight at an estimated 170 miles per hour. Not racing, testing, because that was the kind of man he was. The rear bodywork lifts, the car finds a concrete wall. McLaren is dead before anyone reaches him. The man who built Can-Am. Killed by the car he built to win it, of course he was. The Canadian-American Challenge Cup launched in 1966. Its regulations, Group 7, demanded 2 seats, enclosed wheels, and something loosely described as safety. That was the entire rule book. Not so much a technical formula as a permission slip for lunatics. Engineers called it a Formula Libre for sports cars. Unlimited displacement, unlimited power, unlimited creativity. The teams went after aerospace materials, titanium, early carbon fiber, because nobody had told them they couldn't and nobody was going to. Whatever worked, worked. And in 1966, John Surtees took the inaugural championship in a Lola T70. The rules were loose. He was not. Then Bruce McLaren arrived with the M6A. The team's first purpose-built monocoque chassis, finished in papaya orange, a color that would haunt every other team in the paddock for the next 5 years. It won 5 of 6 races in 1967. The 6th was presumably a clerical error. For 1968, McLaren bolted in the M8A, a 7-liter Chevrolet big block V8 producing 590 horsepower, stressed into the chassis itself like a structural beam that also happened to make apocalyptic noise. Mechanic Gary Knutson assembled those initial engines by hand. 590 horsepower on a racing car. In 1968, McLaren and Denny Hulme didn't merely dominate, they made everyone else look frankly agricultural. 5 consecutive championships, 1967 through 1971. The press stopped calling it a racing series. They called it the Bruce and Denny Show, which tells you everything. On September 28, 1969, at Michigan International Speedway, McLaren cars finished 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. McLaren, Hulme, Gurney, in that order. That season, the team won all 11 races on the calendar, every single one. McLaren 6 victories, Hulme 5. The other teams paid entry fees and provided scenery. Every single one, then Goodwood, and yet, without its founder, the M8D went out and won 9 of 10 races in 1970. Hulme won 6 of them. The team carried on winning as if grief were fuel. McLaren had written in from the cockpit, "Life is measured in achievement, not in years alone." He was 32 when the M8D disagreed. 32, younger than most of his engines. In Stuttgart, Porsche had spent 5 seasons watching orange cars take everything. They were not amused. In 1972, they arrived with a turbocharged 5-liter flat 12, producing 900 horsepower, not so much a racing car as a military intervention. The Bruce and Denny Show was about to be cancelled. 5 seasons, 5 consecutive championships. 1967 through 1971, the orange cars simply turned up and collected trophies. Then, for 1972, Porsche wheeled out the 917/10, a turbocharged 5-liter flat 12 producing 900 horsepower. The collection was over. This was not the murderous early 917 that Brian Redman had described as incredibly unstable, using all the road at speed, which, from a racing driver, is the equivalent of a farmer calling a combine harvester slightly lively. Porsche had solved the handling. Now they pointed it at North America like a loaded weapon. 900 horsepower against McLaren's 700. Frankly, it wasn't a competition. George Follmer, driving for Roger Penske, took the 1972 championship. Porsche won 6 of 9 races that season. The Orange Army didn't retreat. It was simply erased. Then came the 917/30. Porsche bored the flat 12 to 5.4 litres and fitted twin turbochargers. In qualifying trim, 1,580 horsepower in a car weighing 800 kilograms. The Germans called it the Turbopanzer, the tank. The translators were, frankly, being modest. 1,580 horsepower on a racing car in 1973. Mark Donoghue was not merely a racing driver. He was a mechanical engineering graduate from Brown University who happened to sit in the cars he designed. In 1973, driving the 917/30 for Roger Penske, he won all but 2 races in the entire Can-Am season. He said the car would never have enough power, quote, until I can spin the wheels at the end of the straightaway in high gear. The man wanted more. He always wanted more. The regulators had seen enough. For 1974, they introduced a fuel consumption limit aimed directly at the 917/30. The kind of rule that doesn't even pretend to be about anything other than one specific car. Porsche withdrew. The original Can-Am Championship was cancelled. The final race of the season left unrun. The greatest motor racing series in history ended not with a crash, but with a memo. But the car wasn't finished. In August 1975, Donahue averaged 221.12 mph around Talladega Superspeedway, a closed-course world speed record. The 917/30 had been banned from racing, so it went to Alabama and set a world record instead. The Turbo Panzer had outlasted the series that tried to kill it. Donahue was Brown University, class of 1959. A mechanical engineer who drove, not a driver who dabbled in engineering. When the 917/10 shed its rear bodywork at Road Atlanta and sent him into the barriers at 150 miles per hour, he had surgery and then he came back because he had not finished engineering the solution. That is the kind of man he was. Frankly mental and entirely irreplaceable. After 1973, Donahue announced his retirement. He came back anyway. 10 days after Talladega, a tire failed at turn 1 of the Österreichring during practice for the 1975 Austrian Grand Prix. He never regained consciousness. Mark Donahue died on August 19th, 1975, in a hospital in Graz. He was 38 years old. He had not finished. Goodyear settled with his estate for $9.6 million in 1986. The tire caused the crash. Nobody disputed it. Can-Am returned in 1977, closed-wheel, formula-based, tame as a family hatchback. Group 7, the anything-goes experiment that produced the Turbo Panzer, ended in an Austrian hospital room, unmourned by regulators and unreplaced by anyone with vision. Nothing like it has ever been sanctioned since. Nothing like it ever will be.